April 23, 1985. Coca-Cola, the most recognizable brand on planet Earth, calls a press conference in New York City. They're about to announce something that seems completely insane. After 99 years, they're changing the secret formula of Coca-Cola. The room is packed with journalists. The announcement goes live. And within hours, the backlash begins. Within days, Coca-Cola's headquarters is flooded with 400,000 angry phone calls and letters. People are protesting in the streets. A man in San Antonio starts a group called Old Cola Drinkers of America and gets 100,000 members in weeks. 79 days later, Coca-Cola admits defeat and brings back the original formula. It becomes known as the biggest marketing disaster in history. But here's the crazy part. Coca-Cola's sales skyrocket. They crush Pepsi. And some people think the whole thing was planned from the beginning. This is Coca-Cola versus Pepsi, and this story is absolutely wild. Let's rewind to 1975. Coca-Cola has dominated the cola market for decades. They're the king, untouchable. Their brand is so strong that Coke is basically synonymous with soda. But Pepsi is hungry. They're the number 2 brand, and they're tired of losing. So they launched something brilliant and ruthless, the Pepsi Challenge.
Coca-Cola says it's the real thing. But Pepsi-Cola believes that when it comes to colas, the only real thing is taste. That's why the Pepsi Challenge has been asking thousands of people across the country to let their own taste decide. And the fact is, nationwide, more people prefer the taste of Pepsi over Coca-Cola. Pepsi.
Pepsi. Pepsi.
I like Pepsi a lot better.
Pepsi tastes better.
Taste, that's the real thing. So take the Pepsi Challenge and let your taste decide.
The concept is simple. Set up booths in shopping malls across America. Give people 2 unmarked cups, 1 Coke, 1 Pepsi. Ask them which tastes better. Film their reactions. And here's what happens. People consistently choose Pepsi. Not by a little, by a lot. In blind taste tests, Pepsi wins over and over again. Pepsi runs these results as TV commercials. More people prefer Pepsi. The ads are everywhere. Now, you might be wondering, if Pepsi tastes better, why isn't it the number 1 cola? Great question. Because taste isn't everything. Coca-Cola has brand loyalty that goes back generations, nostalgia, tradition, heritage. People don't just drink Coke, it's part of their identity. But the Pepsi Challenge is working. Pepsi's market share starts climbing. By the early 1980s, Pepsi is closing the gap. And Coca-Cola executives? They're starting to panic. Inside Coca-Cola headquarters, the mood is tense. The Pepsi Challenge is eating into their market share. Younger consumers are switching to Pepsi. The data is undeniable. So Coca-Cola does something they've never done before. They start developing a new formula. They run their own taste tests, thousands of them, over 200,000 people. And the results? The new formula beats both old Coke and Pepsi in blind tests. Coca-Cola's leadership looks at the data and makes a decision that will go down in history. They're replacing the original Coke formula with this new one. Think about that for a second. Coca-Cola has been using the same secret formula since 1886. 99 years. Generations of people have grown up drinking it, and now they're just changing it. The decision is made. They're going all in. No Coke Classic option. No keeping both. The old Coke is gone. New Coke is the future. They scheduled a press conference for April 23, 1985. What could possibly go wrong? The press conference happens. New Coke is announced. Coca-Cola's executives are confident. The taste tests were clear. People will love it. The reaction is immediate. And it's not what they expected. People are furious, not just disappointed, genuinely angry. Within days, Coca-Cola's hotline is receiving 5,000 calls per day, all of them negative. The letters pour in, hundreds of thousands. A psychiatrist who Coca-Cola hires to listen to calls says some people sound like they're discussing the death of a family member. In Seattle, a group called Old Cola Drinkers of America forms to demand the return of original Coke. They get 100,000 members. Fidel Castro calls it proof of American capitalist decadence. There are protests. People are hoarding old Coke like it's a rare artifact. One man in San Antonio drives to different stores buying every can of old Coke he can find. Another in Texas fills his garage with cases. Gay Mullins, a Seattle retiree, files a class action lawsuit against Coca-Cola. He argues they don't have the right to change an American institution. Coca-Cola's executives are in disbelief. The taste test said people would love it. What's happening? Here's what they miss. People weren't just drinking Coke for the taste. They were drinking it for the tradition, the memories, the nostalgia. Coke wasn't just a product. It was part of American culture. And Coca-Cola just tried to erase that. By June 1985, the situation is out of control. New Coke is still outselling Pepsi in some markets, but the public outrage isn't dying down. It's getting worse. Coca-Cola's executives realize they've made a catastrophic mistake. They can't keep fighting this. On July 11, 1985, just 79 days after New Coke launched, Coca-Cola calls another press conference. Peter Jennings interrupts General Hospital on ABC to announce breaking news.
Tonight, the cola wars are making headlines again, as Coke announced it's bringing back the old formula with a new name. It was a move that topped 2 of the network newscasts and has old Coke lovers bubbling with excitement.
This is a story of big business, enormous advertising, and a company that found out the hard way, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The old Coke is coming back.
Coca-Cola is bringing back the original formula. They're calling it Coca-Cola Classic. And just like that, new Coke becomes a footnote. The announcement is huge. The Coca-Cola hotline receives 31,600 calls on that day alone, all of them positive. Customers are celebrating like they won a war. There are parties. News coverage everywhere. The original Coke is back, and America is relieved. Within months, Coca-Cola Classic is outselling both New Coke and Pepsi by a lot. Coca-Cola regains market dominance. Pepsi loses the momentum they'd built with the Pepsi Challenge. And here's where the story gets really interesting. Some people think the whole thing was a marketing stunt. Think about it. Coca-Cola launches New Coke. People revolt. Coca-Cola brings back the original. Suddenly, everyone's buying Coke again, not out of habit, but out of passion. Sales explode.
Even the cola competition applauded the return of an old opponent.
The only thing that would surprise me is it's taken them this long.
Today, a hand-delivered statement at Coke's Atlanta headquarters exclaimed, "Everybody wins," and they were right. At closing, the company's stock was up more than 2 points on Wall Street.
Was this planned?
Still, other analysts say they're not at all surprised by the re-release of Old Coke.
Contrived, perhaps. It is contrived. It is, in some ways, probably pre-planned.
Coca-Cola has always denied it. They insist it was a genuine mistake. The company's CEO at the time, Roberto Goizueta, spent years defending the decision and admitting the failure. But the conspiracy theory persists, because the outcome was almost too perfect. Before New Coke, people took Coca-Cola for granted. After New Coke, people fought to get it back. The brand became emotional again, relevant again. Pepsi had been winning the taste test war. After New Coke, that didn't matter anymore. Coca-Cola Classic crushed them. So was it the greatest marketing disaster in history, or the greatest marketing stunt? We'll probably never know for sure. But here's what is certain. Coca-Cola tried to beat Pepsi at the taste game and failed spectacularly. Then they accidentally reminded the world why people loved Coke in the first place and won the war anyway. New Coke quietly disappeared. You can barely find it today. But Coca-Cola Classic, it's still here, still the king. So here's the lesson. Pepsi tried to destroy Coca-Cola with science and taste tests. Coca-Cola almost destroyed themselves by listening. And in the end, Coca-Cola won by admitting they were wrong. Sometimes the best way to win is to lose spectacularly and come back stronger. If you enjoyed this story, hit like and subscribe for more rivalries that changed entire industries. See you in the next one.